Hello everyone, this is Shokora Zouheikyoku aka Chocomint, and welcome back to our Let's Play of Celestia. In the last playthrough, we have a bit of a rejection from our lovely Prince Sekheo. It's very cold to us, for obvious reason, for understandable reason, but it's very sad, and we are trying to help him and maybe become his friend. Maybe he won't be this guy in our heart, but at the very least, we can be his friend to make it feel less sad. Well then, let's continue. I'm relaxing in the castle lounge, chatting with another Celestial when I hear a quiet voice, clearing its throat. I turned curiously to see who it is. Lord Solus is requesting your presence at lunch. Would you like to eat with him in the garden? Lunch with Solus? I smile immediately at the thought of dining with the kindly lord. Yes, I'll meet him right away. I scramble back to my room and get dressed into something less informal, excitement bounding in my chest. As much as I hate to admit it, I cannot say my excitement is not without ulterior motive. I look in the mirror and arrange my hair with nervous fingers. Perhaps he can advise me on what to do about Prince Sekheo. I arrive at the garden with an eagerness in my step. At the side of me, Lord Solus stands quickly. Strangely, he reminds me of a puppy. Or perhaps not so strangely, considering his excitement at my arrival is palpable. Hi, Keeper Elena. Lord Solus. Thank you for joining me on such short notice. Thank you for the invitation. I smile as I pull out my chair to take a seat. Solus flusters for a moment. Is something wrong? I was going to pull out your chair for you. I apologize for my slowness. You must think me uncautious to be so slow. I try to think up a way to convey my thoughts as nicely as possible. Well, one must admit that a friend is allowed to be less than cautious. Of course, I wouldn't mind it. Solus gazes at me for a moment. A friend? I nod with an oblivious smile. Of course, I understand that Solus' invitation was made to explore our sky's compatibility, but my purpose for meeting him here doesn't quite lie in that direction. Solus looks surprised for a normal moment, but doesn't comment further, instead looking down at his covered meal. So, how was your trip into town yesterday? Lovely. I visited some of the townsfolk to tea. I'm very excited. Lord Solus gazed at me in utter shock. Here, you invited humans here. I nod cheerily. I did. Doubt fills me at the sight of Solus Vtuber. I see. Is that a problem? No, I suppose not. It's merely the idea of speaking with them on such a casual level. I've always felt humans as my judges, but I would never break bread with them. Solus smiles. Well, no matter. I'm sure things will go smoothly, regardless of the guests. Regardless of the guests? This underhanded comment surprises me. I'm not sure how to respond. I'm sure they will too. Think optimistically, think practically. I mean, you gotta be practical, you know. I want to ask Solus quite a few questions, but I'm unsure of where to start. The sun looks at me curiously, eyes wide and bright. I give him a hesitant smile. Hi, Keeper, what do you need? I sigh. Some insight, I suppose. specifically whether or not humans and Celestials can ever live in harmony with each other. Harmony? That is quite the question. My apologies. There is no need for that. I will answer to the best of my abilities. As far as I am concerned, I am in harmony with their world. I shine my face upon their lands and help their crops grow. I respect them as people I need to protect, but there is no need for any greater association with them. What else is that but harmony? I mean as friends, Lord Solus. Solus hums and thought. This sounds like an inquiry for His Highness. Sekheo? Indeed. When Sekheo's planet thrived, he was different from me. He loved any sort of connection to the human world, especially their books. I believe his moments of what he viewed as true connection are his greatest treasures. You know him well? That is one way of putting it. We have been in each other's orbits for so long. It would be most strange if we didn't know each other at all. However, there is still much the two of us do not understand about each other. I can only hope we have enough time. He drifts up into silence. I have another question itching in the back of my throat. Just one more thing I need to ask of Solus. I clear my throat quietly. Lord Solus, may I ask you another question? Of course you may. You're the timekeeper. You may ask me anything you wish. It's about Prince Sekheo. I observe him carefully, and I'm glad that I do, because he pauses imperceptibly before relaxing. Oh, yes, namely, why did he come? Why did he accept an invitation to a celestial gathering if he did not wish for a partner for his guys? Excuse me. I'll be honest, I'm curious about His Highness. I've never met a dying celestial besides the former timekeeper. Even some, that was as a human and I retain no memories of her. I keep my true feelings aside, that I am attracted to him, and that my feelings are not mere curiosity. He seems so melancholy, and as I am mentioned, I have heard that he does not wish to make an alignment with anyone because of his status. You mean his prognosis? I nod slowly. I do. I'm not sure why, Timekeeper Yuluna. If I am honest, I have wondered as much myself. Solus busies himself by buttering bread, dipping a knife delicately into the softened spread. I have known Sekheo for many years, and it seems that he still guards himself well. We have not shared our secrets with each other, but I believe I know him best out of all Celestials. That's a bold statement, and it's one I wish I could prove him wrong about. I wonder if Sekheo would ever consider letting me in. He pauses, then takes a bite of the sliced bread, chewing contemplatively. In any case, all Celestials are invited to these gatherings, so his attendance is not odd despite his refusal to connect his dying star to another universe. Solus lifts his shoulders, placing the knife down carefully. It seems there are many mysteries tucked away in that cave of his. So it seems. I try not to sound disappointed. If anyone knew Sekheo well, I was certain that it would be him, but he doesn't know either. Or perhaps there are things he isn't telling me for both mine and Sekheo's sakes. I don't know which thought is worse. In any case, I would like to thank you for accepting my invitation for lunch. It is a little strange, I admit, being at a world where it is always night aside from the light of your moon. It is all I have ever known. I see. Solus clears his throat. Well, were you to consider a union of all star systems, I can assure you that my son would bring warm summer days of the brightest degree. Okay. The forward invitation makes me gape at him in some surprise. Wowie, that's just so straightforward. I just wish you could do the same invitation in your route, where Ilona is the person who actually being more forward, or maybe I got hooked in the natural sadder ending. I don't remember he being more forward, but generally his route is more of Ilona's being more forward. In a sense, it's like really traditional, really shy and stuff. It's still good though. Their impact, their impact is not as much as Bellsprout, I suppose. I see, yes. Thank you for the offer. He nods, his face flushed red with embarrassment. You'll have to excuse my frankness. It's just that such unions are why we take a physical form. It would be most shameful if I didn't take the opportunity to speak with you, Zouheikyoku. I mean, both of you are well matched, like the sun and the moon, one in the morning and one at night. It is well matched. I don't know. I don't like your personality that much. You're very gentle. You're very proper, prime and proper. But you have, I suppose, because Lord Solus is still young, that he's less mature than Sekheo. Or maybe I just like Sekheo the most of his looks and his personality. Maybe his emo phrase too, though I'm not sure if I could call that an emo phrase. Lord Solus, please take this as a formal offer. I would love to light up your world, if you would only allow me to do so. Solus must know the shock on my face because he smiles. You don't need to answer now, but know at least that the offer is there. I nod slowly. Thank you, Lord Solus. He looks at me expectantly as though waiting for me to say that I'll consider, but I avoid his gaze, my face warm. Finally, he looks down at the tray beside our table. I don't know, Lord Solus. Don't you guys like? There's not a lot of events and not a lot of talking between you. I feel like his extending his offer is a bit too fast. Tell me, Zouheikyoku Luna, have you ever had this chart before? I shake my head. Before this week, me neither. This is not my word after all, but if anything, now is the time to taste it. Think of it as a taste of life that you could have at my side. He smiles warmly, offering the fruit to me. It would be rude to decline, so I accept it, and with careful hands, take a gentle bite. It tastes sweet, but deep inside, I wonder if the bitterness on my tongue comes from my wish that someone else were at my side. That someone else were at my side sharing a meal with me. Lord Solus, what if I told you I was interested in... Solus sits up expectantly. In someone. He deflates, just slightly. Oh, and may I ask who that might be? He leans forward eagerly, expectantly, but I don't reply. Not yet. How can I, when Vils already warned me to stay away? You cannot know, but I'll still like to ask you a question. Anything. What do you think of Prince Sekheo? You spoke a little of him. but I assure you that I ask from a completely platonic perspective." Solus looks baffled. "His Highness, why such interest?" "He is so lonely that I cannot help but feel pity for him. In some ways, his existence is pitiable. I think your desire to reach out to him is sweet, but I worry that you open yourself up to a world of hurt." "For just being his friend?" "Of course, and what will inevitably overtake you." "You mean love, Timekeeper? If you seek a person's company with a desire to become closer, then love is an inevitable factor, whether it be of the romantic sort or not. That attachment will hurt you." He looks a bit melancholy himself. It's natural, considering how long they've known each other. I'm sure Solus doesn't want to reflect on the pain he'll feel when Sekheo's inevitable end days come. When I don't reply, Solus prompts me again. "Timekeeper?" "Ilona. Excuse me." "You can call me Ilona." I cannot." He looks so scandalized that his expression makes me want to laugh. Somehow, I'm sure laughing in the son's Lord's face will hardly be received well, so it takes all I can to hold in my laughter. "Well, it's better than having to hear my title all the time. We'll work on it next time, alright?" He looks at me in total bewilderment. "Next time?" "Yes, because right now, I want to see him." "Just because. In any case, you'll have to excuse me for cutting Omi's short. In the meantime, I'll consider your offer, Solus." At the sound of his name without a title, he blushes even more deeply. That is to say..." Standing, I bow at him, then turn toward the castle gates. "Your Grace!" "Ilona!" Ilona, will I see you at dinner?" I nod slowly. I hope that we can have... Oh wait, wrong voice. I hope that we can have a dance together then." I smile at his earnestness. "Thank you for answering my questions, Solus. I'll be sure to seek one for you." There's only one more week until I return to the heavens. As such, I can't help but think that I must find Sekheo now. I flag down the nearest human attendant and ask for directions to the Brink's room. Once they point me in the right direction, my heart bounds with anticipation. Maybe we can go into town to shop for books since he likes to read. I knock lightly on the door. There's no reply at first, but I can't let it be. I knock again, this time with more urgency. After all, if he doesn't answer, then perhaps he might need help. Right, yes. That makes perfect sense, and I have absolutely no ulterior motives. I just want to be his friend. I hear a voice on the other side of the door. "Come in." When I enter, Sekheo sits at the desk, a quill pen in his hand. "Oh, I didn't mean to disturb you." It's a lie since I absolutely did, but I suppose he doesn't need to know that. "You have, but there's nothing to be done about it. Besides, I am only reading." "And wow, your room looks nice. Wowie." "Reading? With a writing utensil?" It seems strange, but I decide against asking, focusing on what I want to say before I lose my nerve and say nothing at all. "Your Highness." "Yes, Timekeeper Ilona." "Would you fancy a field trip?" "A field trip? Going where?" I brush my fingers along with the full skirts of my dress, rubbing it for confidence. "It's a surprise, one that I quite think you'll like." Sekheo looks at me, his mouth slightly agape. I keep up my falsely innocent smile for as long as it'll last. Sekheo doesn't need to know my full intentions when I barely know them myself. I make a promise to myself then and there. When I figure out where I want this to end and where, I'll make my intentions clear. That feels like a lie too. I wonder if it'll become more of one the more time I spend with Sekheo. What if I dislike the process? Then you'll be missing out on mine. Sekheo hesitates, slowly shutting his book. I can only hope that he takes the bait. Wait, I'll get my cape. The night sky is bright with distant stars as Sekheo and I walk together. If I were more daring, I'll ask to take a stand, but as is, I am woefully not. My nervousness stirs my heart into a frenzy that cannot be calmed. So, what sort of books do you like to read? The question seems to come to him with no surprise, though I'm starting to believe that His Highness is just not a celestial easily stirred. Is this related to my surprise? I hesitate. If I say yes, will he appreciate it less? Sekheo takes my silence for an answer, offering a mood smile as is his way. I see. Then I will answer you when we arrive. That's a nice smile. I wish I wasn't so easily read by him, letting out a quiet sigh as we approach our destination. Sekheo opens the door to his surprise expressionlessly. I'm not surprised, no. Who told you that I love books? I try not to look guilty. A little bird? By the name of Solus, no doubt. Sekheo sounds aloud. I don't know what game he's playing at. Excuse me? Solus is the person closest to me, as I'm sure you have discovered, despite the fact that I have admittedly tried to keep my distance. He does have a tendency to meddle when he feels something can be better. He really is such a perfectionist. There's a mix of frustration and fondness in Sekheo's voice. Solus does seem like the type to want the best for his friend, despite his prideful moments. I wonder if he's figured out my thoughts on Sekheo. I think his perfectionist nature helps us out, don't you think? I'm not sure I agree. My heart sinks. What do you mean by that? I told you before, didn't I? We cannot share a sky. And yet you draw close to me as though you wish for what I cannot give. That's not my purpose for drawing close to you. I just want to be your friend. Is that truly all you want from me? Friendship? I gaze at him solemnly. What do I want from His Highness? The answer is clear, and yet impossible. He sees right through me. A stab of guilt hits in my stomach. I know I cannot share a sky with him, but I cannot live well enough alone either. So I smile dismally. Prince Sekheo, I brought you to the library. Do you truly think I have an ulterior motive? Yes. Am I wrong? Not at all. Absolutely. I beam at him innocently, but he merely looks away, with suspicion that of one who does not believe me one bit. Finally, though, he turns away, strolling toward a bookshelf with intent. You asked me what sort of book I like to read, but I will do you one better. I will show you what my favorite book is. He makes a beeline to a certain area of the library and pulls a well-worn book from the shelf. Then he walks to another and does the same until there is a rolled file in his arms. I watch him with quiet interest, wondering what he's doing. Finally, he stops and looks at me, his arms full. I lift my eyebrow curiously. What's the verdict? Listen to this. He sets down the pile of books and opens the one from the topmost portion. Oh, that's cute. His hair is smoother than I see from his sprite. A war in the sky. Casualties lie in my chest. In my eyes, white flecks. He finishes the bomb and looks at me. His eyes the closest thing to sparkling as I've ever seen. Oh, that's cute. And this one. He places the book aside tenderly as if it's a gesture, then opens the next, still balancing the pile in his arms. Bellflowers ringing, spring that presses against ears, a blossom and blossoms in eyes. So your favorite books are all poetry books. What a nice smile. I mean, nice smiles. He looks down at the pages with a sense of affection that makes my heart ache. I adore them. That humans can read such things is. He looks down at the book with so much affection that it makes my heart ache. It's lovely. I stare at him curiously, approaching to be just a little bit closer and eliminate the space between us. Do you think maybe you were a poet before you became a Celestial? I suspected. He lifts a shoulder. I don't remember. Of course not. We throw up mutually. That's it. I don't believe so. After all, almost nothing has ever struck me to write poetry before. Almost? He looks intently at me. Lately, these days, I have been thinking. I look at him curiously as he throws off. Nothing. Never mind. Oh, okay. Well, I want you to know that I would love to hear your poetry if you ever thought of something you wanted to share. Zekha's lips curl upwards in a bare smile as he inclines his head. You'll be the first to know. Snapping his book decisively, Zekha looks at me curiously. And what of your favorite books? I shrug helplessly, looking around the room. I haven't had the time to look, but if I'm quite honest, this is my first time in a physical form. But if I were to guess, I'll think adventure. Adventure? He throws up a bit, clearly curious as to why I chose it. There's a faraway look in his eyes as though he is doing all he can not to ask me the questions, lining his lips. It's a lovely look on him. Val has told me of his many adventures through the pages, and they are most thrilling. I still have a lot to learn as a Celestial, so I am grateful to him. You two seem rather close. I've overheard him calling you a nickname. What was it again? What is that again? Oh yes, Dove. I still have no clue why he calls me that, but he has for as long as I've been cautious. Do you refer it over your lip given him? Not quite. It's just nice to have something that makes me feel quite connected to the world. To my surprise, Sekhao's face changes. It suits you. Bill has said something similar to me before, but it's difficult for me to tell why there's a certain special sort of feeling when Sekheo says it. It'll be strange to say I'm falling for him already. However, is it truly so wrong of me? Is it truly so wrong for me to be so thoroughly charmed? Thank you. That means a lot. Do you truly give such value to the words of a dead Celestial? If so, then you are more bizarre than I initially thought. I look at him, eyes slightly narrowed. You aren't dead yet. Yet. meaning you have a life to live still. More than anything, I want you to take it. Sekheo looks torn. Then, when he finally speaks, it's in a voice that has more pain than I've ever heard from him. I think you mistake me, Lightkeeper. I do not wish to die, but if I find joy in this life, it will hurt all the more when I weaken too much to even create a physical form to descend in. I feel the path you choose, Your Highness. Sekheo looks down for a moment. Then slowly, his eyes move back towards my face, analyzing, or perhaps memorizing, every part of my being. When Sekheo looks at me like that, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to feel, but it stirs my chest. I will keep that in mind. I'd much rather you call me by my name. After all, is that not what a friend is? A friend. Is that what we are then? Yes. I try to sound as firm as possible. If he's to let me in, I'll need him to know that regardless of how this ends, I genuinely do want to be friends with him. That much is something I know for sure. There's a part of me that wonders, what if I truly do want our relationship to go beyond platonic? What if I want to love Prince Sekheo? My ulterior motives to worm my way into Sekheo's inner circle have been made clear, but I cannot confirm whether my feelings for friendship are just that. To talk to Sekheo about them feels presumptuous and deeply cruel when he has tried so hard to push me away from his heart. I truly am stuck. You know, Sekheo interrupts my thoughts with words of his own. Time is the only thing I lack, but I appreciate your sentiment, so I will try to take your words to heart. Thank you. Now we should see what we can do about this situation. Situation? You see, I find myself woefully undereducated when it comes to literary delights. Do you have any recommendations? Do I? And again, there it is, that sparkle in his eye that makes him look so alive. If only that were true. I remind myself of the main reason Sekheo pushes me away, knowing that soon his star will die. If I fell in love with him, if I allowed it to continue, then my heart will only be broken. I know it's the truth, and yet, as he approaches me with eager steps looking like a newborn star, all I can do is open my hand for the book he offers. In truth, I do not know the books of poetry that the people of this planet have written, but on my first night, I devoured what I could, and this is the best. A collection of love in written form by Jan Strafford. This poet's words touched me deeply. I highly recommend the work. Oh! Prince Sekheo pulls back his upper hand to flip the book open. Listen to this, please. I look at him curiously, then take a seat to listen at my leisure. Sekheo clears his throat and smiles down at the beach. I wish for a moment that he were gazing at me with such eyes, but I shake the thought away. Such talks can only hurt me in the long run. Sekheo clears his throat quietly, glancing up to ensure that I'm listening. They say love blossoms like spring, with open petals facing the sun. But my love for you is like the moonflower, yawning, unfurling, yes, burning in secret. How dearly I wish that I couldn't keep it. Boldly daring to burst forth, declaring, I admire you. I aspire to, yet to know who you are. He looks at me quickly, his voice strangely eager to please. What do you think? I wish that you were saying these words to me. But I know I can't say that to him. I would like to read more. I like your reading voice. I think you're right. It is beautiful. I'm glad that you shared that with me. Sekheo smiles, then hands me the book. I look forward to your task then. A few books under our arms, Sekheo and I start to walk back into town when a familiar sound breaks out above us. Oh! Wordlessly, Sekheo opens his cape, and together we ran for cover. As we rush toward a building entrance, I can see Sekheo getting hopelessly wet, his hair falling into his face as he tries to protect the books in his arms. Watching him scramble, I watch as Sekheo tries his best to keep them dry, and under his cape while keeping the cape over me as well. I look at him and laugh aloud as we stand under an awning for cover. What do you find so funny? Ooh! Oh, okay. His hair gel is going undone. It looks nice. I just like his hair slicked back more. It still looks good though. I smile brightly, trying to arrange my wet, messy bands. If I may say so. I draw off, taking in his appearance. His hair is wet, dripping steadily into his face and over his breast, three-piece suit. Slowly, my eyes draw up toward his face where he looks at me in utter bewilderment. Your appearance, Your Highness. You look handsome, disheveled. Do I? Sekheo looks down and shortly as I shoved a little closer. Here, I'll fix it. I reached out to push the hair out of his face, stroking it back into a semblance of how it looked before. There. I think his hair slicked back makes it's more buffy or something like that. I look back at him with a bare smile. What am I doing? Sekheo has been clear that he doesn't wish to have more to do with me in a romantic sense. And here I am, making it worse for myself. I don't even know why I'm so drawn to him. I start to move away when his hand catches my wrist. Ilona. He says my name without a title, surprising me as I look into his eyes. I'm sorry. He leans forward slowly, his eyes strained on mine as if begging me to stop him, but I don't. How can I when the magnetism that is the prince has been pulling me in since the first time I laid eyes on him? I allow that magnetism to take me, shutting my eyes. I can only anticipate the feeling of his lips on mine. They graze against my mouth slightly before pressing tenderly against my lips, his arm slipping around my shoulder to pull me closer. Before I know it though, his lips pull away from mine abruptly. I stare at him, wide-eyed. What? I try again. Why? No, I'm sorry. Please forget it. I shouldn't have done that, but no, there's no excuse. I am sorry. I protest mildly. There's nothing wrong with what happened just now, Sekheo. We should talk about it at the very least. He doesn't reply, looking away as he clutches his books to his chest with both arms down. Did you use your power on me? Did you make me kiss you? No. Sekheo's eyes rolled toward me as if shocked that I would even suggest such a thing. I would never. Then I don't see why it's a problem. Sekheo takes my wrist in hand, gripping it tightly. Not enough to hurt, but enough to make me notice. Kipper, do you not understand what I've been telling you all of this time? I am dying. This is not a matter of jest, and your pursuit of me does not go unnoticed. If I wanted to, I could make you forget every moment we have had together. And it is out of respect for you that I do not. I placed my hand on top of his. What if I told you that I just wanted to be by your side? And I would do that as a friend if it's what you wanted. Sekheo looks away from me, but I'm not finished. Is it really alright for you to die alone? Sekheo's eyes are dark as he looks back at me. I do not wish to die alone, no. But I have no choice. He lets go of me. I let my hand drop as he does. And interestingly, this is the fastest kiss I have ever seen in all of the rats. Yeah, this is the earliest kiss I ever seen in all of the rats. Wow. You can't be serious. You always have a choice. You always have a choice. I take a deep breath before I continue. This is a privilege to me to say, as I am still young and in many ways naive to the realities of being a Celestial. But I think it's this reason that I can see the truth in front of you. Silence is the only response I get, which I view as a ground for me to continue. I don't know a lot about when this started, or when you started to isolate yourself. And I certainly don't know when you started to believe your potential for a connection withered away, but look at me, Prince Sekheo. I'm a prime example of someone who wants to connect with you. But for reasons that even I cannot understand, I want to care about you. Perhaps it is the same for others, and you just have yet to give them the chance. Sekheo says nothing as the rain stops. Come, the castle awaits us. Sekheo escorts me to my room in absolute silence, bowing to bid me good night and nodding out. Nothing more. I sit down gingerly on the bed, the mostly dry poetry books beside me. Lightly, I touch my lips. The kiss was real, wasn't it? You wanted to make me forget. I know you could have. And yet, why didn't he? With a sigh, I head back into my room. I'll see him tomorrow, or another day. I'll find him, and I'll ask him everything I need to ask. I'm determined as ever that nothing will stop him, if someone can. And that should be a good time to pause for our live through of Celestial today. This time we have more connection to Sekheo. Learn a lot more about him from Lord Solus, who is a good friend and maybe a bit gossipy or meddlesome. And we're rich in him. We're totally rich in him. And received a kiss, which is super early in the route. Like, you see, Vel and Solus, yeah, almost the end of the route, but they're handsome Sekheo. Well, everyone is handsome, but this extra handsome Sekheo is like, bam, in the middle of the route. For why do I know it's in the middle of the route? Well, experience, I guess. I mean, his route shouldn't be that short, you know. Well, anyway, here's hope for the best, and maybe that our words will reach Sekheo. But that will be for another playthrough. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!